Hello guys, and welcome to another MK Mobile video. Guys, today we are talking about the talents. Which are the best talents in the game, which talents are good for veterans, which talents are good for beginners. Now, I will start by evaluating every single tier by telling you which, in my opinion, is the best talent out of the three in each tier. This is going to be the first part of the video, and in the second part of the video, I'll be talking about which are the best talents for beginners and which are the best talents for veterans. Unfortunately, as of today, we don't have a way to preset talent sets like we can preset teams. So I'll be talking about generic information. I'll be talking about generally the better talents that will work in, let's say, 95% of the teams and will add value. Now let's start with the offense section. Mantis stance. 2% blocked attacks, increased damage, that's fine. Then we have Lion stance, 1% basic attack damage boost, and we have the Tiger stance, which is 2% opponent toughness ignored. Now, out of the three, definitely the Tiger stance is the worst, because in 95% of the cases, your character will have higher attack than the enemy toughness, which basically means that the toughness doesn't work. Remember, toughness only works if it is higher than attack. Now, in the beginning, that will be a little bit of a problem for you, because let's say if your highest fusion diamond is fusion 2, you may find the character, a team consisted of 2 fusion 0s and 1 fusion 10, and the fusion 10 character will have a much higher toughness, but those cases are like an exception, so it won't be really that big of a deal. So out of the three, I prefer the blocked attacks deal 2% more damage compared to 1% increased damage of the basic attack, which is not really great. Let's face it, you don't really rely on basic attacks in this game, at least let's say 95% of the characters. The second tier, precision, increased combo ender chance. We have opportunist, stunned and frozen opponents take 10% more damage, and then we have gambler, special attack minigame receive a 12% bonus to their result. Now, I've been playing the game for about 5 years and I tested gambler multiple times. This thing doesn't work. I have no clue how it works. Please, if you do, leave a comment in the comment section. I really want to know how this thing works, because I've tested it many times and it does nothing. This talent does nothing, so definitely shouldn't invest here. And the opportunist is good. I mean, it is always good to deal more damage, especially if you have locked enemies in a stun lock, but precision is the way to go. Precision, without any doubt, is the most useful out of the three talents here. Then we have the third column, we have kill stroke. There is a chance, not actually a chance, it's guaranteed that your damage of X-ray, special 3 or fatal blow will be boosted. Then we have the Linkway Tutorage, it increases the critical damage boost. And we have the Stranglehold, which increases the basic attack damage boost against enemies affected by fire, poison and bleed. Now, out of the three, Stranglehold is the worst, because, no, every time when you see basic attack damage boost, you just ignore it. It's not horrible, but definitely the other options will be better. And this is the case here. Linkway Tutorage, 10% critical damage boost. That's good, because it works on every single character as long as it crits. And that's pretty awesome. And we have the kill stroke, very situational. If you are doing a team that does a lot of X-rays, then I would say the kill stroke is the best, but the general case, the general advice, go for Linkway Tutorage. We have the fourth tier, rapid response, 10% special 1 damage boost. Then we have the Black Dragon training, 5% critical hit chance, and then we have the exposed weakness, special attack damage increased by 3% against enemies affected by fire, poison, bleed. Now, all those trees are good. Now, if you're running team that is heavily dependent on special 1, I think that both rapid response and Black Dragon training will be useful. Remember, when we are talking about special attack damage boost, this damage boost is calculated based on the minimum damage, so it is 10% increase based on the minimum damage. If your minimum damage is 100, then you will have 10 damage increase to your special attack. So it's not really a huge deal. It is helpful, but it's not a huge deal. So the critical hit chance, in my opinion, is slightly better, but it really depends on your characters. If I have to choose between those two, for a general case, I would probably go for the Black Dragon training if I can max it. If I cannot max it and I can invest just, let's say, 1 point, then I'll probably go for a rapid response. But the exposed weaknesses is by far the worst out of those three, unless you're running some kind of team that keeps the enemy on fire, poisoned, or keep the enemy bleeding. Next tier, Thunderous Blows, 10% special 2 damage boost. Sure, are you teaching? Critical hit gain 2 more power upon impact, and Cruel Affliction, 12% fire, poison, bleed, dot damage boost. Now, What is the best? Generally the best among those three is the Thunderous Blows, because it's guaranteed that you're going to have more damage. Here it is also good, but it's more it's not really that generic, it's not really that flexible, because not every character has fire, poison, bleed, or whatever. However, at the same time, every character can use his special too. So this one, Thunderous Blows, is the best out of the three. But if you are heavily using characters that do fire, poison, bleed, probably you can invest something here. It absolutely depends on you. The Shiryu teachings, I tested this talent some 5 or 6 times. It just didn't impress me. I'm sorry. So I would never invest anything here. Now, the last but one tier, we have Lightning Blow. 3% chance to disable all enemy special attacks and extra fatal blows for 5 seconds special attack 1. That is really useful talent if you are heavily using teams that rely on special 1. If this is the case, then I would invest some points here. Really, really useful talents. And remember, you can even disable X-Rays. The Art of Tsunami. 22% chance combo enders deal 10% damage to all targets. Absolutely, really, really horrible talent. First thing first is chance based, I don't understand why, and the damage you're going to do to all targets, it's laughable. Unless you're doing some boss fight and you have tons of, let's say, tower equipment, so this damage will be actually felt by the tagged out enemies. In the general case, you won't be doing a lot of damage, trust me. And the Unbridled Savagery, another horrible talent. This thing is so situational that in 99% of the case it won't work at all. Remember, unblockable attack is considered only the attack, and the attack only that breaks the enemy block. So let's say that you have a grapple, and the first attack of the animation, your character grabs the enemy and breaks the block, but it doesn't do any damage. And the second mini hit is when, let's say for instance, we're talking about classic Ermac special 2. He grabs the enemy, then throws the enemy to the ground. The attack that Ermac grabbing the enemy is the one that's unblockable, and it doesn't do any damage, so this talent won't increase the damage at all. So definitely, out of the three, I would go for the Lightning Blow, if I have to go that far in offense. And the other two talents, Brutal Ending and Death Mark Technique. I prefer the latter, Death Mark Technique, because Brutal Ending, I really don't like to use Brutality Gear, because it gives you additional combo ender, and this is the thing that I don't like, because in a lot of cases, this additional combo ender will actually destroy your basic attack chaining and will let the enemy escape, and that's really, really bad. I'm not saying it's horrible, but it is just personal preference here. Alright, let's go to defense. We have Bear Stance, Health Boost, we have Rhino Stance, 4% less basic attack damage, and we have Hawk Stance, 4% resistance to all debuffs. Now, out of the three, definitely Rhino Stance is the worst. Whether you're going to use Bear Stance or Hawk Stance, it absolutely depends on you. They are both good, they're all useful. If you're doing towers, I would recommend to do Hawk Stance, because there are so many different difficult tower stages where you're facing bosses that are going to inflict 10 million bazillion debuffs on you, so the Hawk Stance will be beneficial. I prefer Bear Stance, quite honestly, but it really depends on the match. If I'm doing a lot of fatal towers, then I will probably go for Hawk Stance. If I'm doing a lot of survival mode, I will go for Bear Stance. Now, Intimidating Presence, 4% unblockable attack chance reduction. Stalwart Defense, 4% critical hit chance reduction. And we have Reverse Armor, 4% chance of lethal blow immunity. Out of the three, there is no question here. The only choice that you have to do is the Intimidating Presence. It's really important that you don't let the enemy break your block. If the enemy breaks your block, you're in a lot of trouble. So this talent actually reduces his chance to break your block, and that's really important. Honest Blood. Blocked basic attacks deal 10% less damage. Shokan Dominance. Blocked special attacks deal 12% less damage. Centaurian Defense. 4% chance to reflect 100% damage from unblockable attacks. Now, out of those three, I reckon Shokan Dominance is generally the best, because the block basic attacks, they're not really a big deal in the first place. Centaurian Defense, when it works, it's wonderful, especially when the enemy kills himself doing X-ray to you. That's really wonderful, but the chance is low. While the Shokan Dominance guarantees that once you block, you won't be taking that much damage, and that's pretty cool. Art of the Shield, 4% shield break resistance, absolute garbage. OIA tech, minus 20% power drain from your characters, really good. Ghost Armor, if you take critical damage, gain 10% of that as power. Out of the three, OIA tech is the best one. However, in certain situations, you might find also Ghost Armor useful, but that is kind of more situational. Red Dragon Training, 4% stun and power drain resistance. Cyber Linkway Programming. Incoming dots and frostbites have 30% decreased duration. Fujin Boom, 10% chance to rinse dots on special attack use. Now, out of the three, definitely the Red Dragon Training is the generally best talent. However, also those two might have the specific usages in specific battles, but the Red Dragon Training is the general way to go. Revenant, I bet you all know that. On player death, 10% chance to be reduced to 1 health point and gain 5 seconds of invulnerability. The Spirit of Vengeance, on player death, 4% chance to deal 20% damage to the opponent's current health and cause stun. Nightwolf's Chain Lightning. Every time a teammate is defeated, each surviving opponent loses 10% of their current health. Nightwolf Chain Lightning is a very bad talent. You should never use that, guys. The Spirit of Vengeance is useful if you want to inflict some damage on bosses and you are a beginner and you don't have strong characters, and you can just suicide your characters until this talent gets triggered, and then you deal some pretty good damage to the boss. Revenant, out of the three, the very best talent among those three, without any hesitations. Shinnok's Teaching. After taking damage from a special attack, there is 4% chance to apply a Bone Shield for 5 seconds. While Bone Shield is active, all incoming hits feel like scratches and the damage they deal is ignored. Shaolin Last Stand. When you only have one character alive, immediately gain 1 bar of power and a 55% chance on blockable attacks for 10 seconds. Out of the two, Shinnok's Teaching is the way to go. In 100% of the cases, Shaolin Last Stand is a troll talent. I don't understand why would anybody select this. For one thing, you don't want to die in survival mode, and you don't really want to die in towers, even though this can be used to a certain extent in towers, but I wouldn't recommend using this talent ever. Support. Horse Stance. 2% power generation boost for inactive characters. Mongoose Stance, 10% recovery boost. Boar Stance. Stun now has a 10% chance to apply shield break to the entire enemy team. Out of the three, I would say Mongoose Stance is the generally best, because I don't see any point of applying shield break to the entire enemy team because you're currently hitting one character, right? Of course, the character that has shield break and is tagged out can tag in, and he can still has it. But still, I don't really find this that useful. Still, it can be useful again if you're using teams that call stun all the time, because it will be useful on the currently tagged in character who have shield break. So the next special one you're going to do will be even more devastating. The Horse Stance, no, not really that great, I'm sorry. Teamwork. 2% power spent on specials and extra fatal blow attacks is refunded to each inactive teammate. Then we have Spec Op Tactics. Teammates who tag in gain 4% increased power generation for 10 seconds. And we have Iron Fists. All unblockable attacks generate 1% more power. Out of the two, I would say that Teamwork and Spec Ops Tactics are great. It all depends on your playstyle. If you prefer tagging in and out more often, then definitely Spec Ops Tactics is the best for you. However, if you prefer tagging in and out more often, but you're using Special 2, Special, or even X-Rays, and a lot of time, then Teamwork will be the way to go. It's absolutely up to you. Lethal Battle. Your special to your X-Ray Fatal Blow attack costs 10% less power. Warlock spells. 10% life drain and regen boost. Focused 4% damage boost against resurrected enemies. Now, in my opinion, this is the worst tier of all. I consider 3 of those talents to be pretty bad. If I have to choose though, probably I'll go for Warlock spells. But all of those 3 are bad. I wouldn't invest more than 1 point there. Meditation. Your special one cost 3% less power. Combat Veteran. Every 750 points of toughness reduce critical damage by 0.2. Unbreakable Will. 4% cripple resistance. Out of the 3, definitely Meditation is the best. However, Combat Veteran can be useful in certain situations, especially if you're using a lot of characters with high toughness, such as Ronin Kenshi, Ronin Kitana, and so on. Conditioning. Your special 2 costs 4% less power. Weak point attacks. Power drain has 25% to snare. Slippery One. 4% snare resistance. Again, when it comes to those cripple resistance, snare resistance, it is useful, but it's really situational. So I will say that conditioning is the best talent out of the 3, even though weak point attacks can be extremely useful in certain battles. So conditioning and weak point attacks, on second thought, I believe they're equal. It really depends on what you're trying to achieve. The general case is probably on second thought now as I think of it, I think that weak point attacks is slightly better because many characters have power drain. And that's the only difference. Conditioning works on every character. Weak point attacks works only on character who actually has power drain. And actually this is a very common debuff, so it's not really a big drawback. Outward Scorch, 3% chance for your special one to cost no power. Center, 2% power spent on special X-ray blow is refunded to your active character. Edenia Champion, 2% chance for your special attack 2 to cost no power. Wow, quite honestly, those 3 talents are pretty good, but it all depends on your team. I cannot say which one is better for this particular tier. I'm sorry, they're all good and they're all situational, so it really depends on your playstyle. Linkway Reverence, 10% chance to reflect 100% special 1 damage while blocking. Shiryu Reverence, 4% chance to reflect 100% special attack 2 damage while blocking. Both of these talents are bad. I wouldn't recommend investing any points there. Alright guys, so let's cover which are the key talents if you have just started the game. For one thing, I reckon you need to invest something in Bear Stance. In the beginning of the game, you will require a lot of health because you won't be knowing the characters, what they do, and so on. Also, I would recommend to max out Intimidating Presence. That is a really important talent. Another 2 talents that you must have maxed is Revenant and Shinnok's Teaching. Really strong talents. Other talents that you must have maxed out, Precision. Precision, in 100% of the cases, you should have it maxed out. Another very useful talent for beginners is Spec Ops Tactics, because in the beginning you'll be tagging it out more often and you will enjoy the increase in power generation once you tag in your new character. Basically, these are the really most important talents if you have just started the game and you don't know what you're doing. These are the most important talents. Now, if you're a veteran, I don't really want to tell you which talents to use. I will tell you which talents not to use. And these are Revenant. You shouldn't be using Revenant if you're a veteran, or let's say if you have at least 10 maxed out diamonds. You don't need this thing. You simply don't. Especially if you have some epics, tower epics, even if they're not maxed out. Then you have Shinnok's Teachings. Again, I wouldn't recommend for a veteran player to use those 2 talents. They are not horrible, but you can invest into much better talents that will let you defeat tower bosses faster, that will let you defeat survival mode faster, and so on. If you don't want to really embrace this idea that you shouldn't be using Revenant and Shinnok Teaching, I would just challenge you to try playing without them and to see the difference and to see how the whole game changes once you know that you don't have Revenant. You have to be playing better, right? You will become a better player. This is basically the main advice I have for you. Alright guys, so basically this is going to be all from me for today. See you next time. Take care.